Namaste. This is my second video in the series giving back to Audrey Truschke, and a trained historian from Western University, has been going ranting about Indian culture, Hinduism and Hindutva. So it kept on happening. I thought it was going far too much. So it is time that we put a stop to this. So how do we put a full stop? I will not just go and rant about someone else. She's ranting, it's her culture. I think I'm better than that. So I'll put the things in the right perspective, and I'll keep reminding Audrey that entire criticism of hers is based on lack of understanding. So if something has to be criticized, then her intelligence needs to be criticized, and she needs to work on that first. So let's put this in the right perspective. If you like this video, please press the like button, share, subscribe the channel, and please share this video with all your friends so that one day it will reach Audrey and she'll learn to behave better. Let's start. I was asked this question on a website called Quora.com. Quora is a platform where you can ask questions and people will answer, or people ask you questions and you can answer. So I was asked this question as if Ramayana happened far earlier and the invention of zero by Aryabhatta was much later. And in Ramayana it is said that Ravan had 10 different heads. But if you write 10, you need zero for that. But the zero was not invented. So how do you say he had 10 heads? I liked that question, and if Audrey is watching this video, Audrey Truschke, she will be happy. She'll immediately put this question on Twitter saying, nah, what kind of rubbish is that, and all of this. Well, if you understand, I'm going to show you 10 fingers of mine. If you want to count these 10 fingers, you don't need zero. To count 10, you don't need zero. To write 10, you need zero, 1 and 0. The counting is like unary method, 1, 1, 1, 1. Just put number of lines, dashes, and that's how you count initially, in the initial days. Even statistical counting started with just dash mark. So it's not like you need to write 0 to count 10. You're just counting, you don't need 0. So that was very simple. But there's deeper into this. There's something deeper. And that people often miss out. So I want to say this. I'm not interested in, defeating the Western narrative about Indian culture. I'm not interested in defeating that. I want to tell them that our culture had roots so deep in wisdom that they have not yet understood that. And that's the whole purpose of these videos. So let's see, the most important thing is, in Ramayana it is said that Ravan had 10 heads. 10 heads? Is that possible? Can anyone be born with 10 heads? Is it possible? A gynecologist will tell you, a baby with one head, there is risk of death at the time of delivery. The mother can die, the child can die. There is always that risk. We're talking about 10 head. How would he come out of womb? It just ridiculous. But Indian, the ancient India, the wise man, whoever wrote those stories, maybe Vyasa or Valmiki in case of Ramayana, Vyasa wrote Mahabharata, they had a different vision. They wanted to give you the example of something which is obviously unbelievable. So it is not literal. It is not literal. So you'll keep thinking, what is the message behind that? What is the message behind that? And that's when you start to decode things. Even 10 heads of Ravan is not literal. It is impossible. Why no other man was born with 10 heads then? Somebody somewhere? There is no example like that. There are some people, as long as they are working, They're doing a job. After the job as well, they open their consultancies and they keep working, keep functioning, keep sharing their expertise, keep performing, keep motivating the young ones. They're enjoying their work. The moment because of some reason they have to stop working, their health starts to deteriorate. And some of them die very quickly after that. Why? Because the joy they derived out of working, the feeling of contributing, and the feeling of enrichment, self enrichment, that is all that was keeping them alive. So, your work is one thread of your life, one thread that can keep you alive if you really are passionate about it. Some people are crazy about music. You deprive them of music for 2 days and they fall sick. That's how it is for them. So music keeps them alive and going. Some people are die-hard fans of some cricketer, some film star, or something like that. The more you talk about them, their favorite cricketer or favorite film star, there is a glow on their face. They're so happy. Slowly, as the film star or the cricketer fades away, he retires. He's not seen much. There are not much stories about him. These people lose the charm. Why? Because identification with that man was driving their life. So the driving force of life can happen through different threads. One can be appreciation for someone. That can be a thread that can keep you alive and keep you going. Second can be, some people live for their country, die for their country. Can be that. Some people work so passionately. Some people are interested in writing poetry or anything like that. That can keep them alive. So there are many things that keep you alive. Each one of us has something that has kept us alive. That's why we are alive. Ravan had 10 different channels that he had mastered, which will keep him alive. You imagine there are 10 different threads which are starting from his navel canal. Navel canal is the root of all these threads, energy. This thing, nadi is what we call in Indian language. So 10 different nadis are connected to 10 different things. You cut one, he's not going to die. You cut second, he's not going to die. You imagine like I have 10 on my 10 fingers. On each finger I tie a thread, and I all these 10 threads are tied to one thread, and to that one thread, let's say I suspend this wallet. So this wallet is suspended and held with 10 fingers. You cut one thread, the wallet is not going to fall. It is going to be supported by 9 others. You cut the second thread, it's not going to fall. It is impossible for this wallet to fall down unless you cut the base of all the threads. The point where all the threads are connected, right below that, cut it. So the connection of 10 threads, let it be, but this connection of 10 threads with this wallet, cut that link. That's gone, this is gone. That's what Vibhishan told Ram. Hit the navel canal, the root of all the threads. Destroy the root of it. The threads can exist or not exist, he'll die. Because they will not function. Ram did that, Ravan was killed. What is the moral of the story? If someone is showing you 10 different faces, you cannot cut one face, one part of his existence, and expect that the things are sorted, expect that the trouble is gone. No. If the man is causing you trouble, he'll come back with something else. What is the prime example? Do we have such people like in this world? Yeah, we do, but I'll tell you a very good example of that. That's Pakistan. The nation called Pakistan is a beautiful example of that. There is a diplomatic face, United Nations. There is a government, that second phase, Imran Khan, elected or selected, but there is government. There are other ministers who give all kinds of statements. There are some beautiful ministers. They are so, and I just love those ministers. There was a science and technology minister. What was his name? existed. I forgot his name. But he was just hilarious with his comments and what he was saying. So there are different phases. Sports is one phase of Pakistan. Culture, art, films, singers from Pakistan come here in India, work. Actors from Pakistan come here to India and work. There are different phases. You cannot just cut the sports phase. After the 26/11 attack happened, the government at that time only chose to stop sports ties. If you choose to stop sports ties, you're basically cutting one face, one head off. Like in case of Ravan, Ram has hit the arrow on one head. So one head is dead. The nine are alive. Ravan is alive. So previously government was doing, what was they doing? UPA government. They were cutting just one face. We'll stop playing cricket with you. Does it happen? Does it work? It did not work. Then they said, we'll not talk to you. So the diplomatic head was taken away. Second head. Was Pakistan killed? Was Pakistan destroyed? Did Pakistan change its behavior? No. After Pathankot and Uri, this government, Modi decided that we'll have to hit the base of it, the root of it. So India built its diplomatic channels, strengthened its allies. With its allies, the network was strong, and the entire world started to talk about Pakistan as a terrorist nation. The funding was stopped, investment was rejected, fund, help, military aid, everything rejected. The FATF sanctions came, the Pakistan was deprived of money. That's how you hit the base of it. Because all these channels, diplomatic channels, sports, the terrorist organizations funded, the terrorist camps being run in Pak occupied Kashmir, all of these need fund. You hit the root of it, everything will collapse. Where is that wisdom come from? It's there right in the Ramayana. This is not about 10 heads, counting 10 heads, writing 10, invention of zero. This is not about that. The insight there is timeless. If you have a person with many faces, you cannot cut one face and expect the trouble to go. This is the insight of it. This is a lesson one should learn. This lesson was taught in Ramayana first, thousands of years back. That's our culture. So I hope Audrey Truschke can understand this. This is not a mythology. This is called Darshan Shastra. Darshan Shastra means Darshan is showing something and Shastra is science behind that. So I'm showing you something and the science is such that what I'm showing you in real life or in metaphors or in pictorial view or by description, what I'm showing you, it's telling you about the certain behavior of certain entity. Some energy, something is behaving in a certain manner. I'm trying to tell you that. This is Darshan Shastra. There is an enormous wisdom to see the behavior and decode it in a manner of story. And the story continued for centuries. For thousands of years, the story of Ramayana is still going on. Mahabharata is still, the story is still going on. People are telling this to the next generation all the time. Because the message, the thing to understand is, if someone has many faces, you cannot just defeat one face and think that the man is defeated. He'll put up some other face that we saw with Pakistan in the last 75 years. So what was the question in Quora? The question was, if zero was invented much later, then how did in Ramayana it was written that 10 heads of Ravan existed? How did you count 10 heads? Because to count 10, you don't need zero. You don't need to write zero. You can just count. There is no problem with that. The second part is, after you count 10, you can write 10 in words. You don't need zero for that. TEN10. You don't need zero for that. And the most significant part is the insight or the message or the learning lesson in that story was about handling and knowing that people will have different faces. It is not possible to cut one face and expect that everything is sorted, everything is resolved. It is not going to work. So if the problem is out of hand, if someone is really problematic for you, then you will have to hit the root of it, the real base where every head, every face starts. Right at that point, hit there. This is the insight. This insight is timeless. It was valid then, it is valid even now. But what was the question? The question was zero was invented later. So the timeline, what was invented first, what was invented later, what was written first, what was written later, did Ramayana happen first or was zero invented first? This is brought in time. But the lesson of Ramayana is timeless. The lesson is timeless. So what is timeless? You're trying to bring time into it and ask questions about it. This is where intellectuals fail. The intellectuals are only thinking with what they know. They know time, they talk about time. They don't know timeless messages. They don't know timeless lessons. They don't understand some insight can be timeless. They don't understand that. So what they do? They only do one thing. They keep bringing in time, or they keep bringing in other factors which are not relevant. Audrey Truschke has been doing the same thing. She's been saying all the things about Hinduism, about Indian culture, Indian ethos, Indian wisdom in a manner, and all her questions are just not just derogatory. They're just based on her own understanding and perception, which is, I'm sorry, very shallow. I read her tweets, I read certain things that she has said. I think that is just rubbish. And the kind of rubbish person that she might be, she thinks that Indian culture is just as rubbish. So I'm making a series of these videos just to tell her, Audrey, we are not rubbish. Our Darshan Shastra had a message out of a wisdom. They were talking about some kind of wisdom of life, understanding of life. They're not talking of something in thin air. They're not talking like that. Galileo was killed because he said that the earth revolves around the sun. And the church did not like that. It did not happen in India. For thousands of years, we have scriptures written which describe the entire planetary motion. The concept of solar system was invented in India thousands of years back. It wasn't an invention, it was a discovery. We just knew it, we just found it out. So, Audrey, there is a degree of difference between Western mind and Indian mind. And if you cannot cope up with this, do not comment. You can save your grace by not commenting. Otherwise, if you keep commenting, if you keep ranting, then people like me will come out and will show you that you're just not eligible because you're not understood. It is just as simple as that. I hope this served the purpose. I hope you understood. I hope this video will reach those leftists and those liberals, intellectuals, and may they also open their eyes about ancient Hindu and Indian culture. And I hope this video also reaches Audrey Truschke. Please do help. If you like this video, like this, share this, subscribe the channel, and please comment and tell me if you have something to tell Audrey about Indian culture. Please be polite. Do not use bad words. Let's not act like what Audrey has been doing to us. Let's be good, civilized, ancient Indian cultured people. And let's not mess, let's not hurt, let's not be harsh, but let's just tell that she did not understand before she commented. She should have understood first. Thank you.